Hey everyone, it's Mobius Y here, and I just wanted to make a quick little video showcasing what is probably the most useful website you could possibly find for World of Tanks, and it's very easy to remember. It is simply tanks.gg. Now remember this, tanks.gg. Really useful site, and it's got all kinds of information that you could possibly look for. When you first go in, you're brought to this home page where in the center area here they show various videos and streams going on, and you can browse tanks, take a look at missions, check out some other streams, and so on and so forth. But I'm going to show you what I like to use it for, and we can open up this tank list here. When you take a look at the tank list, it shows you all the tanks available in the game, but you can sort them by tier, starting from tiers 1 through 10. You can sort them by nation, USA, UK, Germany, France, etc., etc., or even by tank class, the 5 tank classes, and it even has a separate section strictly for premium tanks. So what you do is you scroll through this list here, you look for the tank you're looking for, and let's say, for example, the T-54, and it'll open up a new page on the T-54 showing a whole bunch of different statistics for it. Now, by default, it opens up a page on a fully upgraded tank. However, in this case, for example, on the T-54, you can actually click on these modules up at the top here and change the modules to whatever you choose. For example, we can go from the one fully upgraded gun, the D10T2C, which is the gun I typically use on the T-54, to the 100mm D54, which is the other gun that you get when you fully upgrade the T-54. And the stats underneath change, and these boxes indicate, whether it's a worse improvement or it's a better improvement. And there's all sorts of information listed here in this key stats column. You've got the average damage per minute, your average damage rolls, your average penetration, the exact amount of time it takes to reload in seconds, your rounds per minute, so on and so forth. And there's just all sorts of really useful information that you can check up on there. So there's plenty of other things that you can check out there, and they have every tank listed on here. Let's open up the E50 OSFM for a second. Now, some other things that you can do on top of changing the modules, which you saw me do, you can't really do it with Tier 10 tanks since they're pretty much fully upgraded. These extra slots here, this slot here, you can change the ammo type that the gun is firing. For example, let's change the E50 OSFM heat ammunition, and you see the penetration values has changed. Let's go back to standard APCR. So all those things change depending on what equipment you also put on. These slots next to the ammo, you can put on all sorts of the different equipment available in the game. For example, let's put on a medium caliber tank gun rammer, and watch the DPM value in the top left there. As soon as I put on the gun rammer, bam, there's an extra bunch of GPM that's added. So all these statistics take into account any equipment that you have equipped on here, including consumables. These other bars over here next to the Gold Plus are consumables, so let's throw on something like chocolate, which would also increase the reload speed, and you get another boost in DPM. And on the Gold Plus icon here, you can choose various skills. Let's do Brothers in Arms. Boom, another increase in DPM. So it factors in all these values that you are putting on the tank. Another one, for example, clutch braking. Take a look at the hull traverse speed here. When we put on clutch braking, boom, it goes up. It factors in every little thing on these various statistics for the tank that you're looking at. Super useful stuff that you can take a look at. Now, something that's a little more difficult to find is it actually shows the gun constraints for the vehicle itself as well. Now, if straight up is angle 0, which is, straightforward, it shows you that, yeah, the E50M only has 6 degrees of gun depression. However, as you move the mouse around the circle, remembering that straightforward is essentially the front of the tank, you'll see that the E50M off to the side at about a 30-degree angle off to the side and around to the back here at about negative 145 degrees, suddenly the E50M has 8 degrees of gun depression. So it goes from an average 6 to a really good 8 degrees of gun depression. And aiming straight back, the E50M only gets 0 degrees of gun depression. It doesn't just do this for the E50M, it does this for every tank. You can move the mouse at any point on this circle here, and it shows you the exact elevation and depression available with the gun at that very angle. And it changes from tank to tank as well, obviously. Again, really useful stuff that you can take a look at here. Let's turn off some of these skills and equipment here for a second. Now that's not all that you can look at. You can look at the detailed stats, such as things that are not visible in-game, which I have mentioned numerous times, such as soft stats, the dispersion when moving, the dispersion when traversing the tank, or the turret traverse after shooting and taking a damaging hit, for example. And terrain resistances, again, not visible in-game. You can see these values here and see how it stacks up to various other tanks here. And again, these values do improve and change depending on the equipment that you have on. For example, let's do a vertical stabilizer. You can see these items improved here. For example, the dispersion values did improve slightly with the vertical stabilizer. We'll throw on chocolate again. And let's do snapshot and smooth ride. You can see the dispersion values when moving, traversing the tank, and traversing the turret did improve somewhat. It shows all these depending on your equipment loadouts and your consumables loadouts, everything you could imagine. So you can essentially do a very in-depth comparison of various tanks. You know, you just want to take a look at, well, what's the added value of, say, vents on the E50 OSFM? Does it warrant the extra? Does it warrant the extra bit of tank handling and rounds per minute over just a straight up vision boost with coated optics? You can do all those comparisons on your own, and this is just really handy stuff that you can check out for when you really want to get into just gleaning knowledge of various tanks. And lastly, but I would say most importantly for a lot of people, there's a 3D armor model available as well on the site. You don't have to download an extra app or anything like that. It is here on the site. So I'm just going to go ahead and expand this window a little bit here. So right here in the middle you can see the tank itself, and you can rotate it as need be. My connection is a little shaky right now. I have multiple devices. It's usually a lot smoother than this. But you can see up here in the top left the color coding of the different armor plating. So for example, 185 millimeters is a deep red, so essentially that's the front of the turret. 150 millimeters is an orange, so that's the upper front plate. So, just glancing at it at first, it might look like, oh, well, the turret face is really thick. But when you move your mouse over it, it shows you the actual effective armor because it factors in the actual angle of the armor. So the turret face is a lot weaker than, for example, the upper front plate, as you can see there. It even shows you the chance to penetrate with this very tank. For example, if you're looking at it with your E50M. And as you rotate the tank around, it factors in the angle of the tank on the camera. As I angle it more, the chance of penetrating that upper plate just becomes less and less. However, penetrating the side becomes more and more, as you can see here. So at this side scraping angle, pretty tough to pen an E50M anywhere in the body aside from the lower plate, as you can see. And not only from this static 3D model, you can also hit this button in the bottom to change to a live 3D model where the armor plates will change on color as you rotate the tank depending on the vehicle that you have selected, implying that you're shooting at it. In this case, it is acting as though it is an E50M shooting at an E50M. So as you can see, angle it just right, and it's all purple and whatnot, indicating ricochets and tough to pen. But if you angle it even more, then it slowly starts to turn green, indicating a much better chance for penetrations. Really, really handy stuff to check out. I'm going to go ahead and shrink the window now. That's not all you can do with all these statistics that you can look up here. If we go back to the simple statistics, for example, you can click this compare button in the top right, and it'll open up a separate pop-up window with a list of the tanks again, so you can choose a tank that you wish to compare various statistics to. For example, I'm going to choose the STB-1. Can't quite see the title there. So now that the STB-1 is chosen, let's close that, and now it shows these boxes based on a comparison between the two tanks. It compares the DPM of the two tanks without equipment. It compares the average penetration. It compares the reload time between the two, the rounds per minute, aim time, accuracy, so on and so forth. You go back into the details page, and it compares all the soft stats as well. You can see that the STB-1 has much better terrain resistances than the E50 OSFM, but it has way worse gun dispersion values. For example, this is all really, really handy stuff to take a look at when you want to compare how a certain tank will play to one that you have or, you know, one that you want, so on and so forth. But you can also go to the 3D model, and now the 3D model is updated as though it is an STB-1 shooting at it, since that is the tank that you have in the compare box. So you can see here that the chance to penetrate completely changes as you move the mouse over various pieces of armor plating. You go to the live camera as well, and I don't have to angle the tank as much for it to have, you know, a dark red, dark orange kind of color, indicating a very low chance to pen that upper front plate, so on and so forth. This is all extremely handy stuff. You don't need to download anything. You don't even need to, you know, run some extra special program or anything. You just need to remember the URL. Tanks.gg. Sorry, I'm starting to stutter here. Tanks.gg. Super useful site. I strongly recommend you guys use it when you are looking at anything you need on a tank, any kind of on-paper statistic that you can look up. I strongly recommend you go and use this site. And I will actually start using this in-browser 3D model in my tank talks. You'll first see it here in the upcoming IS-6 tank talk, as I feel it will be extremely helpful. Not just to go over the hard stats visible in-game, but I'll go over some of the soft stats in the details page, such as terrain resistances and dispersion values, but I'll also go over a 3D model here, showing you different angles that you can pen a tank and how you can better protect your tank from people who know what they're doing, so on and so forth. Again, guys, I can't stress this enough. This is probably the most useful site you will ever find, even as, if not more, useful than the forums, but that's honestly up for debate. I can't stress this enough, guys. Tanks.gg, super helpful site. Go there, check out anything you need on any tank you want. It literally has absolutely everything. I strongly hope you guys use this and glean a good amount of information from it. I hope this really helps. And the guy who keeps the site up to date, he listens to feedback, and if you see any issues or anything like that, you can usually contact him via Twitter. I know I have, when there was a bug with the gun constraints. It seems Wargaming might have changed how they display their information, so he promptly jumped on it, and within an hour he had it fixed. So he's really good at maintaining this site, and you know, I just think it's such a useful tool that everybody should be all over this and using it to the best of their abilities. Anyways, guys, I think I've talked for long enough. I really hope that you guys find this site useful and you use it to help improve your tanking as much as I have. In the meantime, I'll see you guys on the battlefield. This has been Mobius Y, signing off. You guys have a wonderful night. Tank on.